Oregon Trail Association, Happy New Year. This is Matt Bisek, your Executive Director, with your January update video. First and foremost, I just wanted to touch base on the interim reporting that is being required from the Department of Ed right now. Obviously, this is a new, unprecedented kind of report, different than the traditional APR. So OTA is going to be having a couple of informational call meetings, just a chance for all of us to get together and kind of brainstorm how we're going to approach these, answer any questions, go through some best practices, but just try to support each other as we are getting these submitted. I understand that the information is not overly complex in terms of what they're asking for. However, it is obviously something new, and anytime you're submitting something to the Department of Ed, particularly when it is on mid-year data, if you are underneath your student serve number, like there's a lot of nerves surrounding this, so we want to be able to support you and make sure that we're doing this in a way that will hopefully not result in any negative consequences, right? But also just kind of collect some feedback so I can share those out with COE and the folks who can have relationships with the Department of Ed and maybe have some pushback on these kinds of requests. Just for reference, those calls that we're doing with the state for the interim APR reports, they are going to be at 8 a.m. on both January 19th, which is a Thursday, as well as on the 24th. So feel free to attend one, attend both. We just want to create some supports, maybe bring a draft of your narrative or something to that second meeting. We can all review that information together so you can submit a really quality product to Department of Ed. On a similar note, I have sent out, and will attach in this email, a link to our Factbook survey. So I know we are not submitting the traditional APR information yet, but if you do have that information, we like to collect all that so we can put together some aggregate data on behalf of the state to share with stakeholders and our legislators when we go to DC and advocate and lobby on behalf of TRIO programs. It also helps us collect student stories and demographic data in the work that we are doing as a state TRIO association. Speaking of recent emails that you all have gotten, the 2023 OTA membership dues have been sent out, so program directors should all have received links from our QuickBooks account requesting for membership to be paid. The membership is $300 per TRIO grant, and I'm going to put a link in the email here that will kind of list out all of the membership benefits that come with being a part of Oregon TRIO Association. But this small contribution goes a long way into making sure that our board can function and travel and kind of do all the things they need to do so we can have a healthy, functional organization. So highly recommend you can get those paid early, as it also allows your students to qualify for all of our programs, our scholarships, get discounts when registering for our conferences and everything that relates to our operations. And while we're talking about conferences, I did want to highlight that the Professional Development Conference registration is open. So if you register before March 2nd, you get the early bird discount of $350 for program members. Additionally, the room block also closes on March 2nd, so make sure you are not only completing the form online so that I can invoice your program for everyone who will be attending, but also making those reservations with the resort. I did want to highlight as well that we are doing some pre-conferences on April 3rd. The traditional conference starts on the 4th and goes to the 6th, but on April 3rd, we're doing free pre-conferences that are covering kind of a legs and regs conversation. I want this to be viewed as separate from what you would consider a traditional legs and regs, where a trainer kind of presents the information to you. There may be some brief amount of that to kind of provide an overview, but I want most of this to be more conversational, more touching on those gray areas, the more complex issues that, particularly as directors, you kind of are making risk assessments of how much into the gray area am I willing to go so that my program can operate in ways that are more beneficial to me. So really delving deep into those and having just a really robust conversation. And we hope to have as many participants as possible, given that we are doing this for free and bringing in some awesome trainers. So more information to come on who exactly is providing that. Up next, I did just want to, again, remind everyone and highlight that we are doing a student leadership conference this year. We're actually calling it the Civic Leadership Conference. It's going to be taking place in Salem on Saturday, April 22nd. So registration for that is going to be opening up in early February. So I will have more information to come, as well as how you can stay the night at Western Oregon University that Friday night before on the 21st. having it in Salem, we're hoping to do a lot of civically centered work, as well as engage with some state legislators and provide a really awesome in-person experience for students that are able to attend. So just be on the lookout for when registration opens there, and you can work with your programs to try to get folks to attend. Next up, I do want to just quickly highlight the Last Mile Scholarship. So the spring application deadline is going to be February 17th. I know winter just started, but obviously this thing never stops. We do it every term. So it's February 17th is the deadline for the spring application window. So just start making those recommendations to students, start working with them so they can get that information submitted into us by that deadline. And then last but not least, I wanted to mention the P3 waiver. This is the citizenship requirement waiver that we're working with Department of Ed right now. I know I had kind of listed out there that we are in the process of having an agreement signed, so there's nothing in place yet. You do not need to make any changes yet. We don't even have a draft agreement quite yet that is being worked on, but once that is done, I'm going to be distributing that agreement so everybody can read it over, and then we're also going to do some statewide conversations and calls just to discuss this. I think most of the challenges lie not so much in compliance of what is going to be in the agreement and what Department of Ed wants from us, but in the actual implementation, because as you'll see, and you'll hear it more when we have these conversations, but there are some apparent contradictions in being able to waive this requirement, but then also some of the limitations they're trying to put on these participants who are undocumented. So these are things that we can hopefully talk through and really just try to come to some consensus of what is going to work best for each of you, particularly at the program by program level, because I think this looks different for a talent search who serves students under 14 compared to an SSS who serves adult students, compared to an Upper Bound who doesn't have as big of a cohort and just serves high school students. So it's really, we want to get granular and really talk about implementation of this program, so it's not something that's thrust upon you. But for the time being, just know that it's being worked on, and you will have an opportunity to weigh in and kind of learn more about this process. So far, we've been meeting with partners from COE, the folks from California who've been tasked with managing this waiver for their state and those participants, as well as the director of OSAC, who is our contact within HEC, who helped us submit this application in the first place. So we have a really good team working together, and we'll hopefully be able to roll this out in a way that works best for all of us and allows us to really expand these opportunities to students we want to serve. So with that, I don't have any other big major talking points. It's a busy beginning of the year. Let me know at all if there's anything I can do, OTA can do to help support you. Have a wonderful rest of your January, and I will see you soon. Thanks.